A lot of people are stuck at home currently with this virus going around, and one of the most impacted sports, I mean everything's impacted, but one of the most impacted sports is racing, especially with the big leagues, Formula 1 and things like that, which I made it to the gates to in Melbourne and didn't proceed any further because they turned everyone away. One of the biggest sports though is racing because it's so international, worldwide, going between countries. That's definitely stopped. And for the meantime, all the pro drivers, well not all of them, but a lot of them, a lot of the fans are resorting to simulator racing to make up for the lack of not having any racing in town. So what we're going to do today, there's a lot of newcomers from what I can gather coming to the niche sim racing as it is. And we're going to break down both an entry level complete setup and what it's going to cost to you to get into that if you don't have a rig and know nothing about it. We're going to do an entry level, a mid tier, and we'll look at a high end because we all like to dream. So let's jump into it. Got a couple things up on the computer already. We'll look at some rigs that we just find on Google Images. Like you could search it in yourself if you've got the same, I don't know, time frame of searching. You'll probably find the same photos come up. We'll break them down. I'll show you places where you can buy them. We'll look at the value of them and add it all up to see what the grand total is. And like I said, looking at the cheap end of the spectrum, how cheap that you could do it, medium, what people go for. And if you really want to blow out all your money in this outbreak time of isolation, well then we'll look at the high end as well. Okay, so the first thing is to find what kind of simulators we're looking at. So if you type in racing simulator into Google Images, the pretty crazy stuff comes up already. First thing I'm going to say is today we're just going to avoid motion. I don't personally feel like I know enough about it. That's kind of one of those things that if it moves and it's got enough power to shake you in your seat and stuff like that, you're looking at, like, if you see motion, just add $10,000 to anything we look at today. So we're going to skip motion. We'll go through, and first of all, let's find a entry level rig. We might even type it in. Let's try entry racing simulator and see what comes up. Some interesting things. So for instance, let's break down, none of these are bloody entry level at all. I'd say something like this looks pretty entry level to me. Why is it entry level? We have a pretty full on chassis. Okay, it looks like one of the next level frames. Might not be, we can't see any branding, but we'll look at exactly the ones I'm talking about soon. So we've got a frame that is completely shipped, ready to go. There's nothing custom about it. The chair might have been changed out. That to me looks like one of the Logitech wheels and combos that all comes together. You can see over here, see the 3 pedals. That's the Logitech wheel, one of the best and cheapest entry-level wheels that you can get at the current time. So let's start with that, the Logitech G29. Now in Australia, you can type these in anywhere. You can type in Facebook, you can type in whatever. I know that JB Hi-Fi is a big supplier in Australia when it comes to wheels and stuff like that. So if we can go to gaming, we'll go to the computer, software, gaming. Let's just type in steering wheel. So your local store will have something like this. Now T80 is actually a lower level than the one that we're looking at here. T80 doesn't, it's an interesting, I wouldn't even look at T80. I'll just save you time. Logitech G29 driving force steering wheel. Now this is all in Australian dollars. I understand them a bit more because it's the current the prices I'm going to look at. Pretty much if you're in the US, you can actually take away some of this price because US, we just have more, I don't know if it's import duties or what, but Australia just mark it up a little bit. In the US, brand new, I'm assuming you're looking at like 300, 350 mark. Now these do go on special. I know around Christmas time, they had this kit with the gear shift for $350. It was pretty good special. EB Games had it everywhere. I didn't go into JB Hi-Fi. Let's write that down. So we've got entry level, G29. We'll keep it $399, but we will add in the shifter, such as this, okay? So the shifter, you can see that this is the 3-piece kit, very similar to the other photo we had. It was just up a little bit further. Awesome entry-level wheel. I've got a video that I'll link below going through in a bit of detail on why I think you should get this wheel or one other wheel as your first steering wheel setup. like I said, I'll link that below. Watch that video straight after this one if you want to know what wheel to look for and why I've jumped straight to this Logitech G29 here. So we've got that wheel there, and now we can go into the chassis. Now, that one looks a little bit more of a niche market. R6 is that brand, is it? Or PN5, I can't tell what the brand is. I've never seen it before, and it's got Asian lettering next to it. What we will go to is Pagnian Imports. This is in Melbourne, Australia, so a couple hours away from me. Another one of those big stores here in Australia, so JB Hi-Fi for your electronics. If you want sim gear, Pagnian Imports does a lot of it. It is all brand new prices. Now, if we go to Racing Cockpits, we'll see something that looks very much like this. And we'll be looking at a Next Level frame. Next Level Racing is a really good entry-level frame. And you can see that you can buy them in stands. And this, mind you, this isn't without the wheel. Oh, sorry, this is without the wheel prices. So you're not going to get them all for that. Let's find one that looks similar. So FGT, a bit more high-end. Oh, it could be pretty good. Could be pretty good. This one we can see we've got a seat mount here, gear shift lever, and we have a bit of a table, honestly. That is, I would not recommend this setup at all now that I look at it, because that monitor is going to bin it. That is going to fall off unless it's mounted on there somehow. So, yeah, I don't know about that frame, I'll be honest. But if we go down, a couple options here. This one I'm actually sitting in right now is a good entry-level frame. I've got the GT Extreme V2. You can see it right here. On special right now, they've got 10% off on this website. A lot of specials on right now. Let's just say that you're running the GT Pro, very similar to mine. Mine's just this extreme version. I think it's a bit newer. And that's your chassis. Entry level one, you can't get much cheaper than that unless you were to run stands and stuff. But then, are you really simulating? I think that's just like cutting budget as best you can. We're trying to copy a racing simulator. We don't want office chairs and things sliding around. Back to the photo. We have the wheel now, we have the chassis, and all you have to do from there is just have your peripherals, if you don't have them, and your keyboard and stuff. Now, people can source their own keyboards and things. 50 bucks, you can get some pretty good ones. If you want really cheap out, you can get them from anywhere. What I will show you though is the price of a computer, because most people are probably wanting to run computer. So if we were to run a PS4 version, okay, let's go back to JB Hi-Fi. Let's just type in PS4. Let's say if you set up a computer version or PlayStation 4, and we'll run this for everything, okay? So $400, let's just round it, oh, we'll round it up to $430. $430 for a PS4. Now if you wanted a PC, a lot of websites, a lot of places, probably around you, if you went in computer store near me or something, I just know that PC Case Gear for you in Australia is one of the most known, massive supplier of computers, PC gaming rigs, ready to ship PCs, saves you all the work. You look here, we're looking at between $1,300 for a PC ready to build, ready to go. $1,300 to $1,500 would be your entry level mark. Now the only thing you want to look for here is probably the CPU and the best graphics card you could get. They're running 1660s, not the best. We're in the next series. We're at the 2000 series mark. So my computer is running a 2070. I bought that brand new for 800 Australian dollars. So my PC wouldn't be entry level, I would say. So I'm not going to use that as an example. Let's just say the $1,400 system in the middle, that will run most of your games fine. Maybe the high-end ones like Assetto Corsa Competizione on maximum quality, it's going to really struggle with. But we're talking about low-end budget here. Low-end budget, and we're already in the thousands. How's that? Okay, so let's round out our prices. I'll try and put some type of graphic up on the wall for you. So we have the G29 kit ready to go, and we'll do our sick calculations right here on the screen. Logitech G29, your steering wheel And the main thing that everyone wants is the wheel. How do you drive it? So we're looking at $399, and we'll say that they had the a deal where the gear shifter come in with it, because they do that all the time. Okay, I'm not just kind of like throwing it in like, oh, you come with the gear shifter. They actually do those specials a lot. I would look for them. Then we have the Trakracer. We'll round that to $630, not the $900 one, because it's out of the beginner budget. And then we also have, let's just go the PS4 brand new. There you go. Entry level simulator, ready to race, $1,459. Now, if you didn't want a PlayStation 4, you're going straight for the PC, $1,399, $2,428. Entry level racing simulator. People are probably pulling their hair out already, like, if that's entry level, like, how am I ever going to get into it? But keep this in mind. We are trying to simulate racing motor vehicles. Now, I'm very sure of that there's no way you can get in a racing car, roll caged, kitted up with tires, fuel, oils, everything, the price to even enter events, plus add in the coronavirus. They're not even going to let you out anywhere. You cannot do it for $2,000. And it's just a bit of perspective. Yeah, it's expensive compared to playing Call of Duty, which just costs you $50 a keyboard and a mouse and your computer. But this is from scratch, and you're trying to replicate driving a real car here. So this, if you compare it to actually doing the real thing, to me, this is quite good value. And the amount of hours you can get out of Racing Simulator, if you do really get into it and stick with it for the long term, you're gonna get your value out of that investment, a couple times over. Mid-tier racing rig. What we can look at now is getting into the higher type of components. We won't go for the full end of the spectrum. Now, just so you do know, full end of the spectrum, we have, let's go to Fanatec, one of the most known brands when it comes to racing simulator stuff. They do a lot of different stuff, like they do entry. Well, they don't really do entry, I'll be honest. But they do mid, and they do make high end. Now, podium racing wheel, you'll see that price and you'll lose your mind. Why is that the case? It's because they're gear-driven wheels. Whatever the operation is of the lower end, I actually don't know. Mine is a mid-tier, which is a belt-driven. Okay, so look at belt-driven. And then you have direct drive, gear on gear, super strong mechanism, lots of small detail. Obviously comes with a very expensive price. Direct drive 2, the even better version. But we'll just look at a CSL or Club Sport base. So let's just go straight for finding a rig. You see 80/20 frame here. Let's find a photo and we'll break down exactly what we're looking at. Okay, let's break down this one because it was on Google. We have one of the stronger frames, as you saw before. It's one of the $900 ones. At this price range, you're probably looking at bringing in 80/20 frames anyway, which are these. It's aluminum profile, really, really strong. This is the strongest type of chassis you can get to hold the load of wheels. So at the $900 mark, you're already looking at one of these. And if you're in the US or the UK and things like that, you'll pick one of these up for $1,000. Bit more expensive when you ship them in here. So mid-tier. For now, we just use the next level one that we can find in the photo. And this is the GT Simulator Cockpit Map Black. Let's round this up to we'll find the medium point because you're at the medium point between this one and one of these rigs, which are like $1,200 probably. Let's just say $1,000 for the chassis. Okay, I think you'll be following along so far. I might be jumping around a little bit, but I'm just kind of opening you to how different builds can normally go. Now, this wheel here is the TSXW Racer. It's by Thrustmaster. So the equivalent is the Club Sport base version 2.5, but to stick with breaking down the build, we'll go to the Thrustmaster website and look at their products. Now for mid-tier PC, while that one loads, we're probably looking at graphics cards getting above the 1660, hopefully into
the new realm, but I'm not actually sure where they'll come in price-wise. 2060, there we go. The first PC there that comes with one of the new series graphics cards. The reason I'm focusing, if you don't know anything about computers, so detailed, looking for graphics card purely, is it's the one that handles all the graphics. It's the part of the computer that handles, you know, reading the game and putting it onto your screen. If it's not up to par, your games are going to jitter. It's not going to be able to keep up with it. So let's go $1,800. I think if you're getting to mid-tier and next step lean towards high-end simulation, you're going to want a computer. You have more games on there. It's more clear. It just works better, okay? We're on to Thrustmaster. Let's find their wheels. TSXW Racer. So that's the one with the stock wheel. You can normally get them with the Sparko wheel as well, and that is in pounds. I know that buying that here is again around $1,000 if we can even get it in Australian. Oh, I think we can. And there it is. You can see the TSXW Racer. Sorry, you see back in the photo we're looking at. It's got the red base there. He actually has a Formula wheel on it. Really interchangeable when you start getting to mid-tier. I can undo one bolt, rip this wheel off, put in another one. I've got it behind the screen there, although it's not as good. And here we go. Now, of course, is it going to have any prices? Catch.com.au, keep it an Australian price. We have $1,098, and that will bring us to the mid-tier, definitely mid-tier. This is the highest end belt-driven mechanism you can get, along with the Fanatec one. And it is a bit more expensive because it's full kit ready to go. So Fanatec was, you're looking at what, $800? Something like that, but it didn't come with a wheel, it was just the base. So we have the chassis, we have the PC, and now we have the wheel. Pedals are pretty stock standard. At mid-tier, we'll go back to Fanatec because you're probably looking at upgrading the pedals. The number one thing that's going to help you the most when it comes to your lap times and upgrading your pedals, because these ones back here run off distance. So they're very weak. You could sneeze and the bloody pedal would move in a little bit. Whereas the ones, I actually have these right now, the Fanatec, not the inverted ones. I wouldn't recommend those because at that price range, you're already looking at high-end pedals. This is more like it. We're going mid-tier, you're gonna want better pedals, and that brings us to our final price. Let's do the calculations. $4,450 if you knew nothing about Racing Simulator and you want to go straight for mid-tier. Now is time for the high end. Now, like I said, we're going to avoid motion. That could come into the play here. Like, this is a good photo we could break down, but that's a massive motion box. For high end, you're definitely going to want to run 80/20 chassis. Try high end, see what comes up. I actually have no idea. Having a look. Look at them, they all have motion. Just add 10,000 on anything that we do today when we look at this. It's a good time to be a sim racing discussion, and I would assume that's talking about the coronavirus. I don't know when it's posted. Alright. Here we are. Now, we haven't added monitors into the mix here. But obviously running 3 is what I would call high end. So, let's say you had one screen because we hadn't really added them into anything yet. We're going to go back to PC case gear and we're going to upgrade to 2 more monitors, or at least a really good curved one. Actually, you know what's even better here in Australia? Kogan. Let's just scrap the 3. Okay. And we'll upgrade you straight to the high-end one. Say if you're buying, if you already had one shitty monitor, instead of buying 3 brand new ones, just for your sim, popular choice these days is to go curved monitor. To mimic having 3, I actually have 3 here right now. They're not all the same though. My next upgrade from a simulator will be going to 144 Hertz. Is huge for me. Curved monitor. So we go highest price, and you can see 35-inch, still not good enough. Let's try and find a 49. We're sold out. We're sold out. Is this one of their new ones? Not a bad price on a monitor here. Now it says business, I would look into why it says business and not gaming, but I'm not going to look at details just as yet. But $1,200 for our curved monitor. 144 Hz, it's going to refresh quicker. The gameplay is going to be super crystal smooth and much more involved. It's going to encourage you to get more into it because it just looks that much better. Okay, curved. It's going to be awesome to mount to your 80/20 chassis, which, as you can see, we've got so many things open back here. There's one picture, or there's another one. See the aluminum profile, 80/20 chassis. It looks like he's gone straight for the sim-labs TX or something like that. This is one that everyone goes for. It is a European brand. Trying to ship these in is super hard. If you're having a bit of trouble, we actually have, I forgot the names, Australia Sim Racing 80/20 chassis. There was a new brand that sponsored someone, Lego Sim Racing, or Trakracer have one as well. It's about $1,200. The GTR view range, there we go, stage 1, 2 and 3 comes with different connections to it. Really, it's the same frame, comes with different connections. Let's say that you wanted the mid one because you just need the keyboard mount and the screen monitor. Okay, we're looking at $1,600. That's for the chassis. Now we're going into wheel. The one he's running in this looks like Sim Experience AccuForce V2. This guy, that is not a high-end rig. That is an old wheel. AccuForce wheel V2. This is one that I'm going to upgrade to. The best bang for your dollar direct drive wheel that you could get. Bang for your dollar. We're talking about $2,000 here. I know that getting it to Australia, I already know the price of it because I look at them all the time. Let's buy you can buy just the box or you can buy it ready to go. You'll see that it's $999 unless I've changed the price. $999 American dollars. To get it here with the conversion shipped, it's $1,800. I've already done the maths on that and we'll keep it in Australian dollars. Pedals, it doesn't come with pedals. You're going to want a wheel scan. I can't even spend sprints. Let's see if this auto corrects. Nah. Sprints, sim racing, pedals. There we go. Gesvinskilder as well. I don't know how you say it, it's German. But these are the ones that everyone wants or very similar to it. They're probably sold out, I'll be honest. 3 pedal set, out of stock. Like, in pounds. Really, really hard to get a hold of. But when you do get in here, let's just say they're about $1,200. I might be off, but I have seen secondhand for $1,200. They have Ultimates as well, another version up, and you're looking at $2,000 for them. Yeah, Sim Pedals Ultimate, £1,000 comes in at $2,000. The Sprints are probably more brand new than $1,200. Let's just keep it $1,200 for now. I've seen them listed for that once before. We have pedals, we have the wheel, we have the frame, we have the monitor. I think you're ready to race, although you don't have a computer. You don't have a computer. Now we're gonna have to look at a $2,000 or above rig here. 2070, you're running the one that I've got. We're getting to i5s. You can go higher than i5s, Ryzen 5, that's getting up there. That's very similar to the rig I'm running now, and it can run everything. So we've got the computer, $2,145, $2,150. You're not gonna run high-end racing sim off a PS4. I'm not even gonna look at that. Let's do the math on this one, and we can all continue on dreaming. $2,150 for the computer. We've got $1,200 for the pedals. We've got $1,800 for the wheel. We've got $1,600 for the frame. And we've got... What was $1,600 for the frame? Monitor, $1,200. Oh yeah, Australian dollars. Whew. Nearly $8,000. High-end racing simulator. There you have it. We have entry, mid, and high-end. Just for the sake of it, because you made it to the end of the video, I'm going to link all the things that we broke down in the description below. Hopefully this gave you some clarity. Remember, don't blow all your money on sim racing, especially if you're new to it. While you might have a heap of fun for the first few weeks, if you're not a die-hard racing fan, you need to make sure that you're going to continue to use this. Because like I said earlier in the video, The investment you get, it's much cheaper than racing a real car, and you can get a lot of hours out of it. So do you get your, I really do think that you get your value out of your money investment, but only if you use it a lot. Now, if you go and blow mid-tier $4,450 while all this coronavirus is going on, and then in 3 months' time don't use it, it's a lot of money you're going to lose when you try and sell that secondhand. Entry level and getting into sim racing, first of all, final few words I would say is really try and buy things secondhand if you can. I paid 250 Australian dollars for this rig, the chassis. I paid $300 for my wheel, and I've got pedals now, which were 500. You can do the math on that one. Save a lot of money. The only brand new thing I bought was the pedals on a Black Friday sale that come with a free brake upgrade. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.